What's up, A to Z Sports? Happy New Year in 2024 for the first time live talking Titans this morning after another absolutely ugly loss in this 2023, now 2024 season. Zach, we're going to have a lot of things to go over as Will Levis gets hurt again in Houston against the Texans after missing the one game with the ankle injury. He comes back and not before long a sack, fumble, touchdown run by the Texans defense puts Levis out with a new injury. So we'll hear updates from Mike Vrabel from that post-game presser. We'll also hear a lot of things from Mike Vrabel on what went wrong against the Houston Texans. And Ryan Tannehill with a lot of truth and honesty in a post-game press conference after he was thrust back into duty after Will Levis's injury. So we'll talk about Levis hurt in Houston. The Titans are now 5-11, and it is a Tuesday, which means we start out our New Year's, Zach, throwing shade here on the show. Zach, welcome in. Hope you had a good New Year. Happy Nico year, as I've been telling everybody since about 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon.
Happy New Year to everybody in 2024. Got a big year hopefully ahead for all in the chat, for A to Z, everybody around the country that interacts with us. We appreciate you, and full head of steam into a brand new year. We are broadcasting live on 3 different platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We got you covered there. Also, follow us on our Twitter/X profile. We'll tweet out segment by segment, link by link for all of our live streaming shows, including this morning show, including prime time and everything in between, at A to Z Sports on Twitter/X. Give us a follow there. On YouTube, if you've not already subscribed, this is your year to subscribe. You could start off on January 2nd and become a subscriber and interact and be a part of our community. That's valuable as we continue to grow and expand our community. If you've already subscribed, we thank you. Like this show, this individual show. It will help the algorithm, help more Titans fans and NFL fans around the country come in here and join our community as well. Facebook, what's going on, Facebookers? Bottom left corner of your screen. Share now to public. Sharing is caring, and caring is sharing, as we always say on this show. So share the show around. We need to pop up in your Facebook friends news feed. And let's get this 2024 party started on a Tuesday.
Yep, let's do it officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham. Make sure you follow us all over social media because we go live every weekday morning at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch as Nashville's on-demand sports.network, going live every weekday morning. Got to thank our sponsors here on the show to get things off and rolling. They are Wilson County Hyundai. Make sure you make them a part of your new car buying process by seeing them in Lebanon or WilsonCountyHyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans at fbhp.com/ATOZ. And Krebs Kubota, an elite Kubota dealer with 3 great locations across the mid-states in Columbia, Franklin, and Murfreesboro, online at KrebsKubota.com. So once again, Happy New Year to everybody on the show. It's our first show of 2024, and we hope that for the most part, the Tennessee Titans will be playing better football for the year in 2024. But they got one more game left, but we're going to react. And since it's been about a day or two since we all watched the Titans just get embarrassed by the Houston Texans on Sunday, a New Year's Eve weekend slate in the NFL, let's just go ahead and let Mike Vrabel open up and kind of remind us of how bad things were Sunday in Houston.
We didn't finish. There were some mistakes. Would have liked to have the early shot, and then we have a penalty that, on a conversion, we knew when we had practiced about, move and hop around on third down, and, little just disappointing that we aren't set, and then being able to move one of our better players around to help them help us get a conversion. So, it's a penalty there. We're not set, then can't, we have the touchdown, the fumble return, can't protect the quarterback. And then, just not scoring down there inside the red zone. So there were some, obviously some things that weren't, very good. There'll probably be some better plays once we have a chance to look at it. But then it's just not complimentary enough. The penalty, we get a stop and then a penalty, give them the ball back. So it's hard to play any game when you're not complimenting each other and there's just mistakes.
It was bad. And Sam, I think, got a lot of heat on the post-game show that was entertaining. We'll get to that about the Will Levis injury and the update with Levis and the foot injury that Mike Vrabel referenced on the sack, fumble, and touchdown run by the Texans. But 26-3, the final score there. The Titans lose. So, Zach, before we dive into the Will Levis injury update, let's go play our one-word game since neither of us had a chance to react to that in live time in the post-game show. What is your one word to describe that Titans loss in Houston on New Year's Eve Sunday?
So my one word has double meaning, and it's pretty simple, but it's lost. So they lost. Obviously, they've lost a lot of games all year. They continue to lose, but they're lost, I think, as a team. I think Mike Vrabel is lost on what to do with this team at 5-11, where they are in the season, because he's never really had to do this and play as many meaningless games as he's played this year is the most in his head coaching career. They're lost as an identity. They're lost on how to use Treylon Burks. They're lost on how to use Derrick Henry. They're lost on how to protect their supposed franchise quarterback of the future, Will Levis. And defensively, they're lost in a lot of other ways. So I felt like that was all encompassing on especially Sunday's game. 26-3 is a shellacking. That was embarrassing. The fourth quarter was let's get this over with and get back to Nashville type of fourth quarter. And the Texans, they check the box, they move on, and they're trying to make the playoffs this season if they can, as they maneuver throughout. But this team is officially lost on a lot of different categories. And it's disappointing to see at this point in the season, but that was all encompassing on Sunday.
Yeah, that's a good word to put it. I'm going to go through some chat comments because there's some good ones. Nick Ewing says no show with a hyphen in there. Bork says tank. Amar says embarrassing. Distinguished Gentleman says time. Dad of the Bone says joke. Tones with broken. Demetrius comes in with dysfunctional. Tighten up says bored. I see Sean King says broken. Another dysfunctional coming in here from Roger. Danny just says O-line. Ronnie says quit. Amar comes back unwatchable. Inept from top tier. So, Zach, I was uninspired is my one word I'm going to land on. I thought about pathetic, which I saw Alex just use in the chat as well, but uninspired is how I put it. Because I watched a lot of the NFL across, because I wasn't doing the game day show with Jack and Sam. I watched a lot of Red Zone on Sunday because I had that flexibility for my day. I watched a lot of bad NFL teams compete and get pretty close to wins with
Patriots, Bills,
Patriots,
Giants.
Yes, Giants. How
Cardinals.
about the Arizona Cardinals beating the Eagles for no damn reason? Even Washington was competing with San Francisco for a little bit of that game. There are so many awful, awful teams, Zach, competing. And in the Cardinals, they won. For what? To lose the second pick in the draft? The Cardinals beat the Eagles, and the Titans are not even close. If I were to rank the bottom three teams in the NFL right now, I'd stop at two because I'd go Panthers, Titans. I think that's where the Titans are right now. They are near the bottom. They might be picking 6th or 7th here in April of this year, but they were so uninspired on Sunday against the Texans. And look, we can talk about we can have our own topic about the Treylon Burks drop early on. How much could that have changed things if he catches it with a beautiful throw by Will Levis? But man, uninspired. The Tennessee Titans were pathetic, embarrassing, and a waste of time on Sunday in Houston.
Even like, the Bears got the number 1 pick because of the Panthers. The Bears playing well down the stretch of this season, right? They've at least, they're a bad team that has come together, and the Titans are a bad team that just plays bad football. But you know what? I agree with you. The Titans are the second worst team currently in the NFL, and the Panthers are worse, I think. And I won't throw a drink at you, through the screen like the Panthers owner, but the Titans are 2. They're the second worst team. And that is because of a lot of things. They put a lot of players on IR. Jeffrey Simmons isn't playing. Derrick Henry, I feel like Derrick Henry's, this is the first time in his career that I think again, I go back to lost. I feel like Derrick Henry is lost within this team, within the offense, within the season, within the future. I mean, here's the face of the franchise that has led the Titans numerous times to wins, hard-nosed wins down the stretch, wins when they should not have won. And I don't know if they know what to do with Derrick Henry. And this is all kind of coming to a close. We all know that. After the Will Levis and Derrick Henry great win against the Atlanta Falcons when they wore the Oilers uniforms the first time this season, it was kind of like, maybe they got no. This chapter Sunday, unfortunately, how the business works, probably going to be Derrick Henry's last game in two-tone blue. Yeah, that's just how the season has worked out.
Yeah, and we'll have a few days here to discuss and to think about how Derrick Henry is going to go out and if he's going to go out like that. But again, he hit 1,000. Like, the only good things that happened is, and here's the crazy thing, Zach, I just kind of corrected myself because the Titans, we both agree, second worst team in the NFL, but the only team in the NFL with 2 guys who have double-digit sacks. They have also got a 1,000-yard receiver and a 1,000-yard rusher. But they're awful. And so it's offense and defense. So you've got some production from a couple of guys. Danico and Harold Landry having great seasons, and DeAndre Hopkins and Derrick Henry are having really good seasons considering what they're up against. The level of difficulty for those 1,000-yard seasons for both those guys on the Titans offense is extremely high. Like, they're taking like AP physics and they're passing it, but barely. And they're getting beat up in the process of doing it.
Yeah, coming off of a season last year where Robert Woods was the top guy, right? I mean, they were
at 500.
DeAndre Hopkins has been a great story for what the Titans, the little good that has come out of this season. But yeah, I think this entire team is lost, and they got to, Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel, they better find a map this offseason.
Yeah. For sure. All right, let's get a Will Levis injury update from Mike Vrabel and talk about that decision that was made that the Titans are facing heat from you guys, the fan base, about. But first, let me tell you guys all about Krebs Kubota, an elite Kubota dealer with 3 amazing locations across the entire mid-state, Columbia, Franklin, and in Murfreesboro. KrebsKubota.com is where to go to get any of the equipment that you need, as the spring hopefully is just around the corner now that we've entered 2024 and you have those projects you want to get done outside around your home, your property. Krebs Kubota is who can help you out. KrebsKubota.com is where to go. Once again, an elite Kubota dealer, which means they have the best equipment in the industry, the best warranties in the industry to help you get it done with the best customer service around the Middle Tennessee, Columbia, Franklin, Murfreesboro. KrebsKubota.com.
A to Z Sports, we're powered by BetMGM. Oh, man, last night, Washington, Texas. I don't know if everybody stayed up. I feel like a lot of people were asleep at that time. But BetMGM put some cash on it. Entertaining game, at least at the end. You got NBA basketball on the horizon. Use the bonus code for new users, ATOZ Sports. Download the app today in your Apple or Android app store. That's BetMGM.
All right, before we get to our question about Will Levis, let's get a update from Mike Vrabel on the status of the rookie quarterback.
We'll see how it is. I don't think it's anything that's going to be too serious. Couldn't finish the game. So we'll see where things are tomorrow. Yeah, different. Yeah, something different here.
So that's what Mike Vrabel had to offer. Mike Vrabel does talk today to the media, I believe at noon back in Nashville. And Sam will have coverage for Titans at 2 after that fact, so we'll find if there's an update on Will Levis there. But I mean, I heard Ryan Tannehill was asked about it. An unfortunate thing that he talked to Levis afterwards. That just kind of a weird thing that happened. You get your foot stepped on. It's a different injury, right? Like this is now his right foot, not his left ankle that he missed time with. But Zach, Levis goes down.
Here's my question, and I have to go look this up. Is it the same foot that gave him problems his senior year at Kentucky? You remember that?
I don't know. If celebrating Michigan fan / fake Kentucky fan Ryan Fields is in the chat, maybe Ryan could help us out with that intel. If that's the same foot that he had.
He had surgically repaired. I thought he had surgery on it.
Did he have Jones? I don't remember him having Jones.
The hard part, they protect those injuries so much that we don't know exactly the specifics. It's like Corey Davis ankle injury. Remember when he got drafted? Like, what a mystery. We had surgery, but what was it? What type? We don't know. But that was one thing that I looked at, or at least thought about it, I guess, of when I heard it was the foot. I thought it was a good thing. There's a positive, blessing in disguise, silver lining, however you want to call it, that it wasn't the same ankle.
Yeah. So here we go. Champ, who is a real Kentucky fan, says he had turf toe at Kentucky, no surgery. This is coming from a UK fan. So, I didn't think there was surgery on the foot. I just think it needed time, and that makes sense. And Chris says, you are allowed to Google this. You are not allowed to Google in trivia or in the age game. But Chris says, Google says left big toe. So this is his right foot that Levis had there, the right foot injury for Will Levis. And the play that it happened on was just, I mean, like the whole, like Ojoku, the extra offensive lineman playing tight end on the right side, just getting whooped by Jerry Hughes, who might be 45 years old, gets around that guy and immediately just gets right into Will Levis's grill, and the strip sack fumble, steps on his foot. He goes down, but a different injury than the ankle sprain, which I think makes this upcoming question even more interesting. Zach, do you have anything else to add before we ask the question to everybody here?
No, I think I couldn't see where he got hurt on the play. He obviously got hurt. And so, you never want to see this happen, but we all knew, and this leads us into the question, we all knew that they have a problem protecting the quarterback, and we all knew that Will Levis was dealing or less mobile than he would be coming off of that ankle injury. And what do you know? They couldn't protect him.
No, they could not. So let's ask this question right now, Zach. Were the Titans right or wrong to start Will Levis versus the Texans? Were the Titans right or wrong to start Will Levis versus the Texans? And I want to read a comment that I saw early in the show as you guys are bringing in your comments right here. Andre says Sam was getting smoked so bad in the chat Sunday that Austin had to come in and defend him. Sam's a grown man, Austin. He has to be able to take the heat for horrible emotional takes. Look, I was not in the chat because Sam was getting smoked by all of you guys. I was in the chat because I had so many thoughts about how I thought people were handling this, and I was muted. I was muzzled, Zach. I wasn't on the show. I'm not really good at that, of not having an opportunity to speak my mind on that. So I was not there to defend Sam because Sam is a grown man and Sam can defend his own takes there. But right or wrong, were the Titans right or wrong to play Will Levis against the Texans? And here he is hurt again after they can't protect him. Zach, I'll send you the chat, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Yeah. And this, to preface this is a complete hindsight question, right? Like, we know all the information now of what has happened. So, we're going to get a lot of wrongs. And I will say this, prior, the chat overall did not want Will Levis to play, right? So I will give you guys credit for the chat. I don't know all of you, but a lot of people did not want Will Levis to play when he got hurt the first time
Yeah.
against Houston, got rolled up on at the end of that game. So
Yeah,
Curtis
if there
C
was
says wrong.
a fan vote, right? If there was like a fan vote from the chat that was all compiled into one answer, it would have been to probably sit it.
Yeah, Brandon Brown says wrong, dead wrong from Andre. Anita says right, 1,000 or 10,000% wrong right there. Wrong from Tighten Up. Johnny and Billy both go wrong. So does Takis. You've got right from Roger. You've got Bradley says I say wrong. Guy says wrong. So does Raz and Aaron. A lot of wrongs coming in. Jack, Demetrius, Rashid, Brian, and Kelvin. Right still from Titans Kyle. Hindsight is 2020, as we talked about that. Absolutely right from Daniel. He needs reps. Right from Nathan. Dead wrong from Koss. Seoto says wrong AF. Right from Chase. Wrong for starting Will from Greg. Wrong from Ann. I mean, there's a lot of wrongs coming in here. And we know that because now, most likely, I don't know the extent of the injury. We'll have to maneuver through this week to see who's going to start against Jacksonville in week 18. But Austin, where do you reside? Because there's been some like ins and outs of this. This has been unique, right? Because he got hurt. Could he come back? Oh, well, now it does look like he could come back. Ryan Tannehill didn't play very well and lost the game at the end versus the Seahawks. And then get an opportunity with a young guy. So many different things go into this decision. Was this right or wrong?
The Titans are absolutely right to play Will Levis. And Zach, I'll show you this video. This was from Thursday's practice, I think, last week, or maybe it was Wednesday's practice last week. I mean, the guy looks fine. And, he bouncing around with a bunch of energy on Wednesday's practice. He seems like he's got some juice in his ankle, and he's not favoring his left ankle at all. And so when I watch him make a dime of a throw, 50-plus yards in the air to Treylon Burks on the second play of the game, and Burks drops it, then that gave me everything I needed to see of, Will Levis is healthy enough to play, because he injured his left ankle, and he was able to step into a throw confidently and make that type of play, even though it was dropped. And when you look at the injury, and this is something that Sam and I talked about at length last week when we were going through all these topics. And I feel like we've had 2 weeks of shows asking if Levis is healthy to play, should he play, or should the Titans shut him down? I've always said, if he's healthy enough to go out there and play and can protect himself, then you play him. And if something happens and he gets injured and it's unrelated to the ankle injury, then that's just football. And that's exactly what this is. Zach, it's an unrelated injury. It's not like he got tackled and hurt because he couldn't get away from pressure. He was in the pocket looking to the left and got hit in the face because he couldn't see it. It wasn't like he was lacking mobility to escape pressure. He just flat out did not see or feel the pressure and got hit that way and stepped on. He would have been hurt on that play, regardless of his ankle, his back, his toe, his whatever. That's just what happened. That's football play. So they were right to start him.
Austin, I think you're concentrating on the wrong thing, though. And you're sitting here talking about his ankle and if he's healthy to play. Don't you think that the real topic here is putting him out there behind an offensive line that can't protect him? It's not about Levis protecting himself because of the injury. It's because the Titans good and damn well knew that their offensive line was coleslaw. They couldn't block. They have guys that are trash. They cannot protect their young quarterback. This was less about the ankle injury. I agree with you. You just rolled the film. He looked okay. He healed pretty well, a lot faster than I thought that he could heal. And we didn't know the full extent of the injury because we don't interview trainers. But Austin, this is about the head coach and the team knowing the team. And the team is really, really bad. And their worst attribute across all of the spectrum of their roster, their worst thing is their offensive line. And it wasn't going to get any better. And Austin, if Will Levis would have stayed out there after that sack, he would have gotten sacked 5 more times like Ryan Tannehill did. So it was about him getting re-injured, whether to the ankle or a new injury, which happened. That I think that is the topic is more about the team and the offensive line or lack thereof to protect Will Levis. Because I think, yeah, we value experience. He's a developmental quarterback. He needs the reps. I think we both agreed with that. I think I'd kind of gone back and forth on this because when he first got hurt, I was more set him down because I didn't trust the team. And his injury healed. I think I probably got blinded by that a little bit. The injury may have healed quickly, but the offensive line didn't get any better. And so I think that was the problem. And I think I'll credit the chat. I think that's the place where the chat is coming from. And the chat says, we know, we've seen this thing. We've seen this story. Andre Dillard is not going to improve any more than he can because he can't. He only is going to probably get worse. Brunskill's ankle is in shambles. We knew that. Skoronski has struggled the most he has all season during this stretch because I would say, and I'm not trying to give excuses, the people around him are really, really bad. Their right tackle is just as bad as their left tackle. Their left tackle's just as bad as their right guard. I mean, so this to the chat is about the offensive line. It's not about the injury to Levis.
And so I agree with what Trey says. Anyone who makes business decisions based on what you're talking about here and trying to look ahead in the future and saying like, it could go really, really bad, so don't do it. That's just not something you should operate in.
But this is a unique situation. Like, I think I would agree with Tress overall. Like, yeah, you don't want to make those type of decisions. But Austin, this is exactly where this team is in the season. You started the show. They're the second worst team in the league. And Austin, they have the worst offensive line in the National Football League.
Again, yes.
But no, there's nobody even close. The Titans are close to the Panthers to be the worst team. There's not a single team that is close to as bad as this offensive line is. And what do you know? They showed us exactly who they are, who we thought they were. And they got the quarterback hurt again.
Yeah, but again, that could happen. Like somebody said here, there's a super chat that I want to get
likely to happen.
Yeah, but
that's the point.
So Kick It to the King says, with this O-line, you want to risk him injuring his ACL bye 2024. Another excuse for Vrabel to have I don't have my quarterback killed thing. And then he comes back, says, you guys said he should play. We'll be seeing a different tune if he had an ACL injury. You can tear your ACL any point in time. Ask Jeffrey Simmons. You mean training for the combine, ACL pops. You can be going up the stairs, ACL pops. I know a guy who did that. Like an ACL, like that's just ridiculous to have a comment like that. To think you should not play a quarterback because of some potential catastrophic injury is not how football or pro sports needs to be operated in.
But that's where the team is.
If the young player is healthy enough to play, they should play. Jeffrey Simmons, who is having an MCL or some type of knee injury, who's on the fence, then you sit him down, right? But if somebody is healthy enough to play and can go out there and run around at practice and can step into a throw with a better sprained ankle and bomb it 50 yards down the field, right down the hash into the perfect basket of Traylon Burks' dropped hands, then why he should play? Because you need him to get good reps and development while you have live snaps to do it. And you can't coach or play scared because the offensive line is bad. He needed to get as many reps as possible, and he was able to do that while healthy. Now, I will approach this week the same way I've approached the last 2 weeks. If Will Levis is healthy enough to play, he should play. I don't expect him to be healthy enough to play because now he's got a another foot injury on the opposite side. You don't put Kirk Gibson out there behind this offensive line with 2 bad legs. No, but if he's healthy,
why are you willing to put him out there with 1?
Because he didn't. Because look, he was healthy.
It's about the offensive line, though, Austin. That's the point.
It's about the quarterback. And
No, not in this situation, Austin. This is unique. This is the worst offensive line in the league. And who are they playing? They're playing a divisional opponent that has everything to play for. This week, they're playing a divisional opponent that has everything to play for. They're coming for first blood, Rambo style. And Will Levis can't do anything about it. So at some point, I think that's the place that the chat has come from over the last several weeks is the ACL is an example of categorizing it as a catastrophic accident, right?
Yeah, like, come on.
That is a real possibility and a higher possibility when you're going to get sacked 6 times.
All right. So again, if Will Levis had been hurt because he re-injured the same ankle or he had another injury because he could not escape from danger, then I would feel like the Titans were wrong in this.
So
decision.
If on the sack he hurt his injured ankle, you would feel differently about this?
If it was because he couldn't get away. That's my point here. He got hit standing in the pocket straight up as he was looking over his left shoulder like this. That's where he got smacked.
But let's say that they step on his left ankle and it re-injures that on that play. You think differently about this?
No, I don't. Because it's the same ankle injury. You have all of January to let it heal, and then you can start training in February like he would have done anyway. Like it's not the Titans were correct in starting him because he was healthy enough to play. He was healthy enough to run around at practice, to warm up, to go through everything, to show the Tennessee Titans training staff and coaches that he was healthy enough to play. Go get reps.
I know he needs reps, but this is Austin. Doesn't make me happy to say this, but this is kind of a weird business decision. It's kind of like Russell Wilson, right? Sorry, this is a unique circumstance. We can't protect our young quarterback. We're going to get him killed. Something could happen. He could re-injure his ankle. And even the reps that he's getting are extreme under duress reps. Because, like I said, they let up 6 sacks. That's 6 opportunities. And Will Levis, you can replace Ryan Tannehill with Will Levis. They were going to let up 6 sacks because this is an offensive line issue.
Look, I'm not trying to defend
the
offensive line.
They stopped passing the ball at the end of the game. They were just trying to get out of there.
Yeah, try to get home. Go home and celebrate New Year's Eve, right? So, all right, I want to get to some more comments, more super chats that I favored. And Kirk brings up a conversation that is valid and a good conversation to have against me. Somebody asked me, am I still drunk? No, I wasn't drunk. Get out of here with that ridiculous comment there. So I want to ask you, Zach, about something here too, and play some more video from Mike Vrabel. But first, tell us all about Farm Bureau Health Plans.
Yeah, Farm Bureau Health Plans. We talked a lot about health today. Will Levis's health, the health of the offensive line, the health of the franchise, the health of the team. Well, look at your health. And what health plan do you have? I have the same health plan that I've had for the last 2 years, and man, am I glad that I have it. Going into my 3rd year of Farm Bureau Health Plans, health, dental, and vision, 200 plus locations across the state of Tennessee. If you are a Tennessean, make sure that you at least get a quote. I promise you, I didn't know what to expect. And once I got a quote, I realized that it was a better health plan than I previously had, and it cost me less money. That's big when it comes to me and my family. You and your family, you can switch today by getting a health assessment, getting a health quote, and switching to Farm Bureau Health Plans of Tennessee. They've been in business over 75 years. Visit FBHP, that's Farm Bureau Health Plans, FBHP.com/ATOZ.
And with BetMGM, you always know you can win big with our bonus code. As a first-time user signing up with code ATOZ Sports to get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses. But also, BetMGM, an authorized gaming partner of the NBA, and inviting you to be a major baller this season. Here's your opportunity for a fast break at BetMGM. Whether your wager ends up being nothing but net or not, right now existing customers can log on to BetMGM and get an NBA bet insurance token. So simply log into your already account on BetMGM, add an NBA wager to your bet slip, and activate that token, an NBA bet insurance token, to help you continue to win with BetMGM. BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older, Tennessee only. Existing customer offer. All promotions subject to qualification, other requirements. Awards issued in bonus bets. Bonus bets expires 7 days. And for problem games, book Tennessee Redline 800-889-9789. All right, so a lot of people are very emotional about this topic here. Is Will Levis, should he have played, right or wrong? I think the Titans were right to play him. The injury that occurred was not related, a brand new injury, completely unrelated to his previous ankle injury, and the team deemed him healthy enough to play. And so Kicking the King comes back and says, most of us wouldn't have had an issue with Levis starting. The issue was this O-line of Swiss cheese and got 2 QBs injured. If it were decent, we'd be saying for these 2 games, start him. And then Jay says, I'd like to ask Austin and Sam if they would have played Levis on Sunday if they had to do it over again. Yeah, people are saying like I'm dying on a hill. Like, I am being my true authentic self right now. I don't think the Titans were wrong at all. I'm not just saying this to have a different opinion from the majority. I think the Titans were right to play him, and they should do it again because the injury was just a football injury. It didn't happen because of the previous injury. It was unrelated. And because of that, he should have played, and he did play. Traylon Burke should have caught the football, but he didn't. How different would things have been? I don't know. But
no, dude, it's one play. That play does not matter.
That's my point.
You can
Zach,
stop going to that play.
It's a part of my overall example. It was a football play. He got hit because he got blindsided because he was looking the other direction, didn't feel pressure, and
but the likeliness of that happening again is high. They got sacked 5 times after that.
Yeah, I don't understand that, but he was healthy enough.
I'm asking, do you understand that? You're talking about one play, but Austin, it was going to happen 5 more times at least. And Ryan Tannehill was more mobile than Will Levis, so it would have even happened possibly even more.
Levis was plenty mobile. He
was dealing with a high ankle sprain 2 weeks later. He was less mobile than Ryan Tannehill. Don't sit here and die on that.
Look, he was plenty mobile to play. Ryan Tannehill is not Ryan Tannehill from 2 to 3 years ago either.
Ryan Tannehill is more mobile than the 2-week removed high ankle sprain to Will Levis. Don't sit here and tell me
Ryan Tannehill is also 34 years old and had an ankle injury 2 months ago. Like, it's not like he is out.
Exactly.
They were both plenty mobile.
What I'm saying is, like, you're mentioning one play, it could have happened. Austin, it was going to happen 5 more times. And the Titans knew that. The chat knew that. Everybody watching the game knew that Will Levis going into that game probably going to get sacked a handful of times.
Yeah, and I understand that. I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm not trying to say that I'm blind to the fact that Titans are giving up 60 sacks in a season in the last couple of years. But still, he was healthy enough to run around. You saying that Ryan Tannehill was more mobile than Levis, how do you know that? Do you know that? Did you see it? Did you see those 2 guys do a
based on the timeline of the injury, Austin? Don't be naive to that.
Yeah, but you're saying that like you know it as a fact. Like, maybe did you talk to somebody about it? Did you see him do agility drills next to each other? Because Will Levis was plenty mobile in that game. Ryan Tannehill is not as mobile as Will Levis in general. So he was plenty mobile and healthy to get around and to protect himself, or the Titans wouldn't have played him. Like, Mike Vrabel is so protective of players. Like, do you think Mike Vrabel would truly roll him out there if he wasn't healthy enough to play?
Again, Austin, it's not about the quarterback, man. It's about the offensive line. You've been screaming that all year about how bad the offensive line is.
Sure.
Keep saying that. That's what this topic is. That's why the chat is so infuriated over the last several weeks. It's not about the quarterback. It's about who protects the quarterback or lack thereof.
All right, so let's get to Mike Vrabel, who had a comment about protecting the quarterback and how limiting this offensive line truly is.
I mean, I think it's pretty limiting, and it has, not every play is like that, but we'll have to find ways to protect the quarterback, and whether we're chipping and leaving guys in. It's it's hard when you leave a lot of guys in against zone coverage. There's a lot of guys covering just a couple. So I think that there's always a balance, and we've talked about some of the things that we need to be able to do. You can run the football, and you can then run some play passes that have different blocking schemes, different angles. That's where you can kind of leave guys in, because you get some sell from the underneath coverage, and then you're able to hit some things behind it, or take a shot. So you have to be able to do some of those things to keep players in. And third down, probably got to chip once in a while, but you also got to try to get some guys out to help the quarterback.
So there's that last part. That last part is the theme of today's show. Austin, it does not matter at this point in juncture in the season. They don't have the players to chip, to block, to scheme, to protect. They don't have them. And Mike Vrabel, I mean, he watched it. He knows that deep down in his heart. And that's what he said at the end of that clip. I mean, he expressed it.
Yeah. I just put up a poll on our YouTube chat, because we can do that on YouTube. I just asked the question because I'm curious to see the percentage. So right or wrong to start Will Levis, So we can come back to that here once some people start to fill it up, because I want to see what the actual percentage is, because I do, and I've seen it. There have been some people in the chat on both Facebook and on YouTube that do agree with me that are okay with him starting. So we'll let that continue. But Kirk brought this up, Zach, that I thought was interesting. College quarterbacks opt out of useless bowl games. Pro quarterbacks should have the same option for useless end-of-season games. I think the back half of that is a bad comment. No, you get paid. You have to go out there and play. You can't Kenny Pickett this thing and say, I'm not playing, or Zach Wilson this thing, and I'm not playing. You are getting paid a lot of money.
Contracts go both ways.
Yes. And so there's also in colleges, NIL, players are asking for more money to play and not opt out of bowl games, which
or players' mothers are doing that for them.
Yes. But I do think Kirk brings up the topic of college quarterbacks opt out to protect their future, right? That's what I found interesting, is that Will Levis is the future, the immediate future, and the next 3 years future of this NFL franchise called Tennessee Titans. So should the Titans have opted him out of a meaningless game? And when it comes to the NFL, it's a meaningless game, right? To protect his future. Because I view this as kind of like a bowl game. Does the result matter? No. But can some young guys play to project you and catapult you positively into the offseason to set things up? I went to Tennessee. I'm a Vols guy. And watching Nico do that against Iowa's defense was exciting. And guess what? Now Nico's got valuable experience. The third and fourth string running back, who were the starter and backup yesterday, they got some valuable experience. You got a lot of good stuff there to go into a long 8-month offseason that you can build on. I think the Tennessee Titans viewed it the same way with Will Levis. Can they do anything in the standings? No. If they win a game, does it hurt their draft pick? Yeah. But I think it's positive for Levis, Spears, Burks, and Chig to get as many reps as possible together as the young, hopeful core of this franchise to build upon.
Yeah, did it happen? Agree. Those guys aren't the problem. I mean, to get experience at least. Like
they're, yeah.
Like,
and
yeah,
so I still think
idealistically that makes sense, but you can't. You have to have something else to run plays.
And so Billy Jones says what I'm saying is totally different. So do you think that what I said is totally different than like a bowl game?
Yeah,
How do you
yeah,
feel
I
about
do.
that?
I do, because here's the thing. The bowl game, Iowa, that bowl game for Iowa, similar to what it meant for Tennessee. It's different because the Texans are trying to win a Super Bowl still, right? The Jags are still trying to win a Super Bowl. So you have one team that feels completely different than the other team
Okay,
about
that's fair.
said game. So
That's
I think
fair.
that's the one curveball within the idea. And you're professional. You get paid. And so when you get paid to do something and you have a contract, you have a responsibility to your contract. The team can decide. That's the power of the team versus the players. That's the problem with college football, is that the players have a lot more power because there are no contracts to play, right? Team could kick them off the team, but then they're probably going to get a lawsuit because that's our society in today's age. But with an NFL team, the Russell Wilson is a great example of that, right? A team decided, and even Ryan Tannehill, the Titans decided that they had a $30 million player that they chose not to play, even though he was willing and able to play, right?
What
And
is
so
that?
the team decides.
Right. But what does that say about the decision that the Tennessee Titans are paying Ryan Tannehill $27 million cash this season? He's got one more game check he's going to collect, regardless if he plays or not. You've already had him collecting those big game checks for every one of Will Levis's starts. So they went with Will Levis and started him off the injury instead of Ryan Tannehill. Like, because Ryan Tannehill is an expiring contract, right?
Yeah,
They're paying
it's a
him. It's done.
casualty, unfortunately. Like
Yes.
in the NFL, you have casualties.
But
You're
I
now
still
looking
feel
towards the
like,
future.
yeah, I still feel like it was the right thing to do to play Will Levis going into this game. Now, we can play this video from Ryan Tannehill that I think is about as honest as Ryan Tannehill has ever been as a Titans starting quarterback. But first, I'm going to tell everybody about the Bone and Joint Institute. Again, we're talking about health once again here on the show. boneandjointtn.org is their website. Make an appointment today if you've got a life injury that's bogging you down. Maybe it's keeping you from enjoying your social life, your family life, your work. However it's impacting you, don't let it continue to linger on, and go get it checked out so you can get on that road to recovery with the Bone and Joint Institute. They have all the experts and the resources under one roof in Franklin, Tennessee. It's a phenomenal facility, and they've got over a dozen physicians who are different experts in different areas of the body, different types of injuries, foot and ankle specialists, spine, neck, concussion, knee, shoulder, elbow, wrist. They got it all. Hip. Whatever that injury is, whatever stage of life you're in, they have what you need to get back in recovery, and trusted over decades of experience with all the experts at the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org.
A to Z Sports are powered by BetMGM. Get a risk-free bet up to $1,500 for new users. If your first bet misses, that's up to $1,500 in bonus bets. That's huge for new users. If you're a new user, use the bonus code ATOZ Sports. That's ATOZ SPORTS. They are the king of sports books. That's BetMGM. Download the app today.
All right, so I want to play Ryan Tannehill because he was about as honest as it could be. And I want people to watch this. I'm going to play it twice. We'll play it once, get some reaction, and I'll play it again to see if we pick up on something. But here was Ryan Tannehill after that game Sunday.
Guys go down, and we just got to do a better job of doing our job all the way around. If it's blocking, then blocking. If it's catching, throwing, or whatever the case may be, we just got to do a better job of doing our jobs.
Some occasions there where you've got no chance.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you couldn't hear the question, Paul asked, were there occasions there where you had no chance? Yeah, definitely, from Ryan Tannehill. Now, I'm going to play it one more time and see if you guys picked up on what I picked up about what Ryan Tannehill almost said but held back.
Guys go down, and we just got to do a better job of doing our job all the way around. If it's blocking, then blocking. If it's catching, throwing, or whatever the case may be, we just got to do a better job of doing our jobs.
Some occasions there where you've got no chance.
Yeah, definitely.
He almost said, we got to do a better job of protecting. but he started to
He
form that
stopped.
P.
He thought before
was
he
like,
spoke.
Yeah. And he was like, I still might have to play behind these guys again next week. So I'm not going to say it like how I want to say it and how I'm going to say it in a meeting room. But man, that's about as honest as Ryan Tannehill has been. It was awful. Honestly, Ryan Tannehill played a pretty good game. Like, Ryan Tannehill was not bad. Like, look, was he great? No. But he was, considering the circumstances and the level of difficulty. I mentioned D-Hop and Derrick Henry have 1,000-yard seasons, basically doing a semester of AP physics. But Ryan Tannehill did pretty well in that AP physics class he was thrown into in the first quarter on Sunday.
They do need to do a better job of, I'll say it for him, protecting. And there were going to be chances that had no chance, whether it was Ryan Tannehill or Will Levis. I think that's the sad part. And what's the poll at?
Oh, let me check it. Thank you. I almost forgot about it. Looks like it's at 65% wrong.
Yeah. So,
Which,
I mean,
that's not as lopsided as it's felt like being on my side of the show, to be honest.
I mean, 65% is a pretty dominant side, but I'll be curious to see how the week shakes out and how they feel about it. They're just trying to get out of this season without getting anybody hurt. And unfortunately, that didn't happen on Sunday, and their quarterback went down with a new injury. I don't know the extent. I mean, the good thing is that Mike Vrabel, as we played the clip earlier, said that he didn't feel like it was serious. There's a positive, right? Yeah. But are you willing to roll him back out? We know Will Levis is a competitor. He wants to play. That's not what we're discussing. He wants to be out there. He wants the experience. He wants the opportunity. Not many guys get opportunity in the NFL. Look, Malik Willis is sitting on the sideline not getting the opportunity, And so they got some decisions to make prior to Sunday against Jacksonville, against the Jags team that has to win to get in.
Yeah, I mean, the NFL sets it up to where Saturday night Texans Colts play, and the winner of that can win the AFC South if the Titans beat the Jags. And so, look, I don't think the Titans are going to have much to do with that, but if the Jags lay an egg, then that Saturday game could be for the division or for a wild card spot regardless. But yeah, I mean, Andre Dillard, I've got stats for you, Zach. Andre Dillard has allowed tied for the league high 12 sacks this season. And he's been benched so many times, but he's still allowing a tied league high 12 sacks. He's giving up a sack every 25 pass block reps. One sack for every 25 times Andre Dillard does a pass set. Jalen Duncan, who has not played in that many games as Dillard, has given up 9 sacks this season and gives up 1 sack for every 23 pass protection reps. So for everybody who says it couldn't be worse than Dennis Daly, it was with Andre Dillard. And for everybody who was saying that Andre Dillard can't be worse than him, well, it is with Jalen Duncan. And it's just so atrocious that they can't put 7 offensive linemen out there and protect. It's like, it doesn't matter how many offensive linemen you have. If one guy gets smoked immediately and your quarterback gets hit immediately, it doesn't matter. Like, it just, if you lose one-on-one that fast, it's over.
They need another overhaul. Another one after they already did it.
Yeah, and Joe Alt ain't fixing things. He's going to help one spot, but he's not. Like, you got to have that first round pick.
A player like Joe Alt, and that's on down the line, helps a player like Skoronski, right? And helps a play. It's impactful on down the line. So I think that's what the hope that Titans have to have. And then, free agency, they got a lot of money to spend. Where are they going to put that $27 million that they're not going to be paying Ryan Tannehill in the offseason, and probably the money that they're not paying Derrick Henry, money that they're not going to be paying Christian Fulton. The list goes on. Maybe not Danico Autry. I mean, the list goes on and on. They got some cash. They better start putting it in places that can last 17 games, honestly.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, Zach, any other thoughts on this offensive line Will Levis topic here? I do have one more super chat.
I'm curious about what they're going to do this week. How their actions this week will be telling on how they actually maybe think about, if they shut Will Levis down, he goes on IR after a not that serious injury. I think that's attributed to the offensive line.
All right. Before we get to shade, Kendall has a super chat. It says, Happy New Year. At this point, I'm more invested in my Madden franchise. The King has 2,600 yards and 31 touchdowns, 14-2 Titans, yet they gave the MVP to Dak Prescott.
Well, even Madden has the bias that the real life has, right? Dak would have gotten the MVP over Derrick Henry in real life too.
Oh, that's funny.
Dak and the boys get you talk about Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals are giving out gifts to those Dallas Cowboys like the refs were giving out gifts or to the Dallas Cowboys on Saturday night. That was some entertaining stuff.
That's a great transition into throwing shade. So let's throw shade here for the new year on this Tuesday to wrap up the show. Shout out Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process. Go see him in Lebanon. Say hey to our friend Payne Bone, or online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Throwing shade to start off our new year. Let's get some shade in here. Zach, as we await for some shade from the chat, I have shade. I have two different football shades. And Ronnie brings this up because he says shade on the refs in the Cowboys-Lions game. Shake my head. And Ronnie's got a star background, but I don't think that's a Cowboys star.
No, I think it's a snowflake.
A snowflake, maybe a little
design
a little winter holidays date that Ronnie had there. So my shade is also on refs for their overemphasis in procedure rules. Like the NFL, they are turning their refs into hall monitors in high school. Zach, nobody likes the hall monitor in high school. They're annoying. They're doing things that are making you inconvenienced while you're going from class to class or doing whatever. They are the fun police. They are making you follow every rule in the rule book, no matter if it is irrelevant to the day, irrelevant to the situation, or what. The NFL refs are hall monitors right now by the way they're overemphasizing procedure penalties. They are power hungry of, you didn't verify to me that you were eligible. Oh, DeAndre Hopkins, you weren't completely set there or the offsides on the wide receivers. Like, why is this such a big deal to them when there are so many other things that are worth focusing on, yet they focus on the most minute penalties that aren't that big of a deal, and they're just doing it because I said so. Like, it's so stupid, and it's making the game annoying. And I also understand that Roger Goodell is probably saying, great, hate the refs. It's good for the conversation of the sport. Be mad at them because you're still going to watch. But at some point, it's so brutal. I can't stand watching referees. It takes me back to like college intramurals. The guys reffing the college intramurals that try to be ticky-tacky. It's like, what are you doing, man? Like, you're here getting paid minimum wage. I'm trying to get a sweat in like Traylon Burks. Just stop calling me for the ticky-tacky stuff and let's play. Like, that's what I feel like this NFL has turned into. I can't stand it anymore.
I don't disagree with you. I feel like it's like police officer discretion. You could be speeding and you could get a warning, or you could go speeding and you can get a ticket, right? Both are speeding, and it's just what the ref feels. The Lions thing, I disagree with you. Roger Goodell does not want the refs into the conversation. So he wants it to be played out on the field. He doesn't want to have to change rules like they did against New Orleans and LA the year in the NFC Championship game, and then change the rule back because it was just an overreaction. Like, you don't want to do that. But when you have video evidence, and you always have video evidence when you're at an NFL football game, somebody's recording you, whether you're the owner throwing a drink at a Jaguar's face, or whether you're an offensive lineman trying to report. Like, there is going to be eyes on you. They did not have that that crew eligible for
Brad Allen.
the playoffs. I think that's the right decision. It was a missed call. But you know what? So I'm with you on the shade. This is more good news or praise. Praise to Dan Campbell, the most likable coach in the history of football, I feel like. This guy is a football guy, true and true. He's not concentrating on the bad. He's emotional. He loves his team. He loves his city. He got passed over numerous times to be a head coach, finally earned his shot, had all of the naysayers when he was hired saying, oh, what the hell is this guy being, hired? You got this dumb jock as an offensive, head coach. What is he? He's not an offensive minded head coach, whatever it is. And then the Rooney Rule was screamed loud and hard because they didn't feel like Dan Campbell was legitimate. Well, he is legitimate. And the Detroit Lions, I thought it was so great of what he said immediately after the game. He's like, I don't want to talk about it, man. And he was frustrated. You could see it. And then the next day that he was at the podium, we're moving on. And I got fuel to fire us to go to where we need to go. So I feel like that was a great way to just kind of like, the refs are always going to be a problem. But when it happens to the individual, when the person who actually received the ticket, the speeding ticket, said, I'm not going to let this affect my day or affect my month, I do want to give praise to Dan Campbell. I love that guy, man.
Maybe Dan Campbell should ask Jalen Miller for some swag.
Right? All right, let's get to some shade. Shade. Ronnie starts out with the Cowboys-Lions game. Darren says shade on the Lions for trying to confuse Dallas when they confused the refs. Let's see. Nate says throwing shade at NFL quarterbacks who compare themselves to John Wick. Those who know about Ryan Tannehill's maybe
end of movie John Wick, though. That's not like, it's the end. It's not like I'm John Wick. It's the end, right?
Danny says throwing shade at the Titans offensive line. That is all. We did that quite a bit today. Tress says shade at Jared Stillman for his unrelenting clickbait gimmick. Literally has no idea what he's talking about half the time. We know why this team is on their way. Hindsight kills me. I would just say don't listen to that guy. Let's see. Shade to the NFL and the refs. The Cowboys game was atrocious. Shade on the announcers. Andrew Dillard and Murphy Bunting. Is that a joke?
Murphy Bunting.
Yeah. Murphy Munting.
So funny.
That's backwards. I got a little bit of a take on that. My take is Robert Smith sounds like Tony Romo. There were times where I was listening to the game and Robert Smith was the color commentator. And I was like, God, is that Tony Romo? And like, what is it? They demoted him? What is he ever doing this game? And so I don't know if anybody feels that same way, but
it was like he had a very similar cadence. And I feel like Robert Smith was trying to be Tony Romo.
Yeah. Matt says throwing shade at all Michigan haters and naysayers. One more game. Great game yesterday, whether you were going for Michigan, going for Alabama, an epic Rose Bowl. That goes into my shade before we get to some other shade. The times of those games. You don't have to play this game at 4:00, so you have to play the late game at 7:45, so it ends at midnight. I did stay up and watch the entire Texas-Washington game, and by God, Texas almost backdoored themselves into a national championship appearance. When Washington was the better team, they came out in the second half and played very good football. The end of that game, they did not play very well. Clock management. I think they're going to get got against Michigan.
The running back hurt.
They got the running back hurt. The clock management at the end to give Texas a chance on a number of occasions. And so it's the time. Play that thing at 3 or 2. The Rose Bowl, and I know the Rose Bowl is the problem, right? That's the issue. Just like California, they're prudes. They think they're better than everybody, but they got a 33.3% tax rate, and nobody wants to live there. But because they've got the sunny skies heading into the nighttime, they don't want to move that back, and it throws a wrench in everybody's New Year's Day. We want to be rested on January 2nd, not going to sleep at midnight and 1:00 on the East Coast on an epic game that So many people have spent a lot of time watching college football. They want to see it through, like myself. And so that's my shade. Change that in some regard. I do think it will be changed because college football is changing like crazy. So that is my shade to that.
And the Rose Bowl, once they go to 12, is not going to have the ability to be the bully and
you would hope.
Things. Yeah. I mean,
hey, Notre Dame still tries to do it. I expect the Rose Bowl still trying to do it.
Yeah. I don't know what the contracts say, but I know Rose Bowl is January 1 at that time every year. That's when the Rose Bowl's played, whether it's a semifinal or not. And so, you don't play the other semifinal at noon. Do you?
No,
do you? Do you do you play the Sugar Bowl at noon, which would be noon Central, 1 Eastern, and then the Rose Bowl after that?
Prime time. You want
viewers. I know.
But prime time, people go to sleep when it's midnight, right?
Yeah, it was 1 o'clock.
Essentially,
Eastern.
On the East Coast.
And Matt says it's because that damn parade. Like, nobody cares about parades anymore. Nobody cares about national parades. Like
here's my
local
take.
Parade.
The people that care about parades watch network television still. I stand by that. The only people that care about parades are the people that watch network television shows. You can take that what you want, but that's what it is. Because nobody watches network television shows, just like nobody watches the parades.
No, they do. People do. It just, they will be phased out because of
I don't think
a generation.
I think if you watch it's like people watching Undisputed. Nobody watches Undisputed. The ratings are awful.
Yeah.
But the perception is, oh man, well, it's Undisputed. Nobody watches that trash.
I've never watched the Rose Bowl parade once in my entire life.
It's a figment. I didn't even know that there was one. It sounds like there is one, but I don't know. I don't watch that.
That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing.
Let's see. Hill says, shade on Philadelphia Eagles losing to the Arizona Cardinals. How do you let that happen? Should be ashamed of yourself. That was a bad Arizona played tough. They played really tough in that game. That was a fun game to watch at the end. Jared says, throwing shade at his 4-year-old for getting him sick 2 weeks ago. Can't get rid of it. Little gerb goblins. Man, sickness was going around. I had it, my man. Jared, it put me down for a week. And so it's going around. Shade on Harrison Jr. for showing up at the game and not playing. What a groupie. That's a pretty good comment.
He shouldn't play that game. Don't play.
Ohio State didn't even play that game. Let's see. Bork, shade on Child for getting random fever out of nowhere. It's definitely going around. Shade on Vrabel for hiring within from Nick. Shade on Iowa just because they don't play real football. They don't score any points. That's the truth.
Iowa, man. Like, the biggest indictment.
Did you sweat out the over-under of that game? 35 and a half?
I did not touch that at one bit because I thought it could go exactly how it did.
A lot of people were sweating it out at the end. That 35 and a half and Tennessee still throwing towards the end zones. I didn't have it either, but I was laughing.
See, Jeff says shade on the Vols for trying to run it up. And I think this is it. And you can go read an article on A2Zsports.com that we posted yesterday about this. I think in a bowl game, who cares? Brock Osweiler had his all flustered and hot and bothered by Tennessee trying to score. Look, Gaston Moore played at Central Florida under Josh Heupel. They're back in Orlando. He has a chance to go down there and lead a touchdown drive in a bowl game. Let Gaston Moore go do that. Let everybody who is a Gaston Moore that has a chance to play late in a game that doesn't matter, go score. Like, I hate when basketball coaches put in the walk-ons and then just have them dribble it out and play 4 corners. Like,
and usually they don't. Usually they
shoot.
Yeah.
Let
it's comparable to an NCAA March Madness game. You want Joe Smith, the guy on the end of the bench, to tell his grandkids that he scored a basket in March Madness. By then, it's going to be 185 teams by the time he's a grandfather, but that's what it is.
But still, like, Let them have it, man. Like Iowa did the same thing. They put their 4-stringers in on defense. Let them go. They were playing hard. Let them play hard. It was great.
Have some
And
pride. Don't let them score, Iowa.
Jeff, I don't complain. I did not complain when Mizzou did the same thing. I still think Eli Drinkwitz is a dork, but still, he had every right to do what he did against Tennessee this year.
I don't think Drinkwitz is a dork. I wouldn't
He
categorize him
absolutely
as a
is a
dork. He's funny.
He is a dork.
He's like, no, I think he was a dork, but he's kind of gotten cooler the older that he's gotten. He
Just
still has
'cause
maybe the dork tendencies. I think you're a Missouri Tennessee thing. Take your orange glasses off.
Like the two schools I applied to go to was Tennessee and Missouri. Like, come on, Eli Drinkwitz.
That was 20 years ago. Who cares? That makes no difference in this conversation.
No, I don't hate Mizzou. I didn't hate Mizzou before Drinkwitz. I think Drinkwitz is a dork. And just because you buy cool shoes doesn't make you cool. It just makes
he's
you a dork.
funny. He's funny. He's charismatically funny.
I don't know. I don't like him.
Oh, I like him. I think he's hilarious. He says things that makes people uncomfortable, and I like that. That's not dork.
Kirk Long says draft Cody Schrader. Sure. Why not? Why not? Why not draft Rex Burkhead 2.0? Tattooed Rex Burkhead, Cody Schrader. All right. That'll do it for us. A happy new year to everybody. I hope everybody had a safe and responsible new year. Glad that you guys showed up the first work day of the year. We'll be back for a big year. Going to have a really exciting year for A to Z. Had a big finish to 2023 and really pumped about 2024.
I want to say this on Drinkowitz. Caleb's right. Shane Beamer's a dork. That guy's a loser.
Yeah. Yes.
Like that guy is just a loser. He is a try-hard, want to be cool.
He's not a dork. He is a goof. He is a goofball.
Yeah, he's a loser. Well, he's a loser. I mean, but I'm Drink. I'm here for Drink.
Okay. You can be Team Drinkwitz all you want, but I agree. Shane Beamer's a weirdo. All right, guys. But once again, thanks for a big 2023, a big 2024 ahead for A to Z Sports. Excited about these things and the new steps our business has taken and the coverage we can give you guys every day here on these services. Buck Rising will be live today for A to Z Sports Primetime tonight. Sam will be live for Titans at 2 right after Mike Vrabel's press conference. So go check out Sam's Titans at 2 show to hear what Vrabel had to say about Will Levis and the questioning that goes around our topic for today. But that's it for us. Make sure you hit that like button on the way out. Always more people watch the show than like the show. Your New Year's resolution should be to like every video that you watch. You can like other people's videos if you watch them too. Just like the show for us. That helps us go a long way. And we'll see you guys tomorrow on a Wednesday. Appreciate it as always.
Adios.